Greetings from quarantine in sunny Yokohama. This is Matthew Ketchum. So I got in last night. Well, actually yesterday at, 1 p.m. or so into Haneda airport. Everything went pretty, it was like a 12-hour flight, something like that. Everything went pretty good. It was slow for sure, but a lot of the worry / anxiety I had, which I had read about too. It's not like I was just making things up. Ended up not really being an issue, which is good. So you get in. It was a little confusing because as we were landing, the cabin attendants, or at least the loudspeaker, I don't know who was talking, but they said that the immigration officers would be coming on board to check stuff. And so please just wait in your seat. They'll come by you, check your papers, and then you can get out. Of course, that never happened. So they just made us shuffle out, which as the first sort of experience on the ground with immigration after going abroad and coming back to Japan wasn't, there were better starts to have, there were definitely worse starts to have, but that one kind of put a little bit of kind of up to the anxiety a little bit, so I was kind of watching out. But after that, really it's pretty cut and dry. It's kind of typically bureaucratic. There's, I want to say, like 7 or so stations that you kind of have, well, not kind of, that you must go through. I'd say along the course, not one after the other, but in those 7, or however many there are, I think it's about 7, there are probably 3 or so times that they just check your papers again, and I mean there's no real kind of interview or anything. They just want to see the PCR test again. So that's, at once it's a good thing, like they're being incredibly judicious and like active about making sure that you've got the test. So that's good. There's probably more efficient ways to do it, I would imagine, but you know, I won't kind of knock them for that. But yeah, so you get in, you get out of the plane. They kind of just check your papers, and that takes, a minute or something. It's very regimented, though. Everybody's, there's people guiding you the whole way through. Everybody's kind of in a straight line. I was actually kind of surprised. I was expecting it to be a little bit more morose, I think. But aside from the fact that we're going through all these stations to make sure that none of us carry a deadly pandemic disease thing, it kind of felt just normal. So that was good. Let's see. So they check your papers. You go through. What was the order of events? What was the first thing that they did? I think it was just, a more kind of in-depth kind of looking through your papers and passports and all that stuff. At some point, they sit you, kind of like the first major thing is they sit you down for another PCR test, which is not the nasal swab, it's the spit test. So it's kind of funny. They set up all of these, kind of makeshift booths where everybody's just standing there by themselves, quarantined off from each other, just spitting into a cup, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so you do that, you submit it, they give you a little vial. You get a sticker with that, and then once you submit it, they put a sticker on your paper, and then you walk through, and after that, what is it? I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff like that, papers checking and spitting into a cup and everything. There's also a lot of waiting once we got through kind of all the stuff, and really when you're waiting for the results, that took a long, I think I landed at, I want to say like 1:30 p.m. or so, and I got to this hotel, which is in Yokohama, via bus. They provide a bus, and actually everything's paid for too. The hotel, the food, there's room service and stuff, the bus, everything's paid for by the government. So good work on that. That was not at all clear when I kind of started coming back over here. I was a little bit worried that I'd be out $300 or $500 or whatever, but no, it's totally covered by the government. So good work on that. But yeah, so once you go through the whole process and basically you're just waiting for results, that took 5 hours, 6 hours. Like I was saying, that I distracted myself. I landed at like 1:30 p.m. or so, and I think I got here around probably between 7:30 and 8 p.m. and it's, a 20-minute or so ride away from Haneda Airport. So that definitely took some time, but hey, whatever. They're doing their job, and it's not even... It's a meaningful job. Like, it's a good job to be doing. So I'm happy that they are taking, this pretty seriously, it seems. So, yeah, you go through all that stuff, and then you get on a bus. I guess they've got a whole bunch of hotels all over the place. I don't know exactly why this one that we're at, specifically in Yokohama, was chosen, but it's nice because they even have a view of the Ferris wheel and the bay right out there, so it's kind of cool. The window doesn't open, though. I'm on the 22nd floor. I guess that's probably to prevent jumpers. But, yeah, so you get here. Again, you kind of shuffle out. Everybody sort of in line. You sit down. They've got other people kind of check. I guess you'd call it check-in, but it's, pandemic check-in. So it's more complicated than that. They run you through a number of basically how it goes down here. Which is more or less you are locked into this room for 3 days. You cannot even go outside of your room, like into the hallway. Which, again, totally sucks, but at the same time, alright. I mean, that's a good thing. On the other hand, I do consider it kind of ridiculous that over the last, call it 100 hours, I've had at least 3, if not 4 negative PCR tests, and I'm vaccinated. So, I don't know, that seems kind of odd that I'm the candidate for quarantine, but again, whatever, I think they're doing a good job with it. Yeah, so basically the rundown is you cannot leave your room for 3 days. It's a tiny room, right? This is not luxury. I guess if you want to pay or something, you can do that, but so far as the government's providing, understandably, they're not, giving you suites and stuff. And again, let me say, like, good work, Japan. This is good. There's a lot of uncertainty. That needs to be worked on, because I came over, I'm pretty sure most people coming over here had an idea of, 3 or 4 ways things might go down, but it went down, I want to say, probably in the best way possible. So that's good. Just make that more obvious, I think, would be, I don't know, something to do. But yeah, so stuck here for 3 days. There's room service. It's very regimented. So what, I think it's, I've got a paper here somewhere that says, I think it's, 7 a.m., noon, and like 6 p.m. or so is when they drop food off at your door. You can't open, and in fact, they make announcements saying, okay, we're going around and we're going to be dropping off food, so please do not leave your room while we're dropping off the food. We'll make another announcement when we're all done, and then you can go get your food. Which is funny. But yeah, the Wi-Fi works. Could be a lot faster. God knows I'm a stickler for really fast internet connections, but I tested it. It's running at like 80 or so Mbps. So that's better than average. It's not blazing fast, but it's good, right? I can't really complain about that. What else? The food was good. It's kind of, I'd say, so far as probably chain bentos are concerned, it's in the upper echelon. So I was happy with it. It was tasty. Kind of, I think there's probably like 12 little subsections with various different compartmentalized foods. That was good. What else? On the 3rd day, we'll need to take another PCR test in order to leave. Again, if we were just talking about something not as serious as coronavirus, I'd probably be a little bit miffed, but hey, this is a serious matter, so please take it seriously, and it appears that the Japanese government is taking it seriously, so I'm going to keep doing the thumbs up. I think Japan's doing a pretty good job on the actual process, the actual getting back into the country, the information that's out there about it, that needs worked on, but the experience thus far has been very, very good. So I want to keep pointing that out. Because, I can be critical. I'm a very critical person and do it out of love. I also like pointing out good things, so Japan's doing a good job on that. Yeah, so on the 3rd day, you need to take another PCR test. You have to return to the airport, Haneda Airport, from this hotel. Again, there will be a bus provided. And that's where you can get picked up. You can't, I asked this, you can't, because I have a friend coming up to pick me up, because you can't take public transportation, right? And so I asked, well, hey, can they just pick me up here? Because actually, this is a little bit closer to where I live than the airport. Would it be cool if my boy just comes up here and I can leave from here? And they said, no, it's got to be the airport. So on the third day, again, I haven't done this. I'm not exactly sure how it'll roll out, but on the third day, somehow they test you. If you get a negative, then they'll take you back to Haneda Airport. From there, you're able to leave in private transportation. You can't take buses, you can't take trains, you can't take taxis or anything like that. So you have to coordinate that yourself. But provided you are able to do that, you can leave from Haneda to wherever it is that you're going on private transportation. I mean, I'm probably forgetting some stuff, but I think that's a decent overview. I also got to give good props to Delta, both coming from Japan to the States and from the States back to Japan. I would have to think really hard of one even minor problem. They did a really good job on kind of everything. Yeah, everything was good with that. So the thing I guess probably I want to sort of point out now is the information out there fucking sucks. It's really stressful trying to figure out what the hell is going on. What do you need? I mean, like, for example, for me on my PCR test, one of them didn't have my middle initial on it. The one that the Japanese government, that document, that had my middle name on it, right? But the document issued from the testing facility did not, and so that kind of freaked me out. That wasn't an issue, although I have heard story of it being an issue. It also sounds like it sort of depends on which airline you're flying, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. But with Delta, it wasn't a problem. In fact, Delta even let me check in. I had a 16-hour layover in Detroit. They let me check my bags and get into the the airport proper terminal 16 hours prior to my flight, which was good because I had to spend the night, which was a long night. That sort of stuff, but again, I was coming from the middle of nowhere, so that's my circumstances dictating the difficulty I had catching a flight. So yeah, the information that's out there is really wacky, all over the place, very hard to vet, verify, and whatnot, but my experience is probably not universalizable or whatever, but my experience thus far has been overwhelmingly positive. Sure, like, that's not to say it's not a pain in the ass. It's definitely a fucking pain in the ass, right? But everything goes pretty smoothly. Nobody's, like, freaking out or being an asshole it's just kind of regimented and bureaucratic. And given the circumstances, given the situation, I have zero qualms with that. So, yeah, it's, I guess, a pretty good experience thus far, all things considered. So yeah, that's kind of my report for today. Let's see what kind of hijinks I can get up in this 20-ish, not even, this is like 10 square meters room for the next 3 days. Hopefully I won't go insane, but I think I'll probably be good. This is Matthew Ketchum, live from sunny Yokohama in quarantine, signing off.